All right, welcome to Let's Talk About It. First up is Anthony Cruz. How was your day today, Anthony?
Yeah, it was good. I got up and I'm not really an early bird, but I feel like the past like maybe like couple months I've been getting up early, and I work with dogs, so they wake me up super early, so that's my alarm clock. So,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
got you,
And now I'm
yes.
here with you.
Hey, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great thing. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Okay, so I grew up in Oxnard, California. It's a it's a city right next to the beach,
Uh-huh.
and it's kind of like Central California. I'm about like I want to say like an hour, maybe like 45 minutes, an hour north of LA,
Okay.
and then like 45 minutes like south of Santa Barbara. So I grew up like right in the beach, in the beach life, and I never knew my real dad. My real dad was always into drugs really bad. I have a lot of stories of my mom saying of like him like going to like in the park one day and being on crack and like literally like taking his pants off looking for a little rock.
Oh, wow.
So I
Okay.
didn't have my real dad, and I was raised by my mom and my stepdad, and their relationship was always kind of rocky. And I do have one brother, and I do have also let's see, one half brother and two half sisters that I met during COVID for the first time from
Okay.
my dad's side. And yeah, life was okay, but it was also kind of rough, like with the environment that I lived in growing up in California and being around gangs and all that and everything that comes with that.
Oh, okay. So what about growing up?
What about growing up?
Yeah, what about growing up?
Um,
Once you
yeah.
once you got out on your own, how did that happen?
Okay, so I ended up, I was like around, I want to say 17. I was like 17 and a half.
Okay.
And I ended up basically, let me get my thoughts real quick. I basically left from my mom's house and I ended up getting some girl pregnant at the time. And we ended up moving to Tennessee and she had a miscarriage on the way over here. And
Sorry to hear
yeah,
that.
so that's kind of like, going away from my mom's house to over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, you mentioned that you had cancer. Can you tell me a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so I had cancer. This was in 2006 is I think when I got diagnosed.
Uh huh.
So I was playing football and it was like hell week, like I'm a big sports person, like growing up, played basketball, football, all that stuff. So I want to say it was like the last couple of days of Hell Week. I'm excited. I'm ready to go play football in high school, and like I'm stoked.
Right.
So one day I'm basically working out like in the weight room and stuff, and we're doing workouts, and I'm doing squats, and I think the pressure from the squats, because there was a tumor on my spine, I think the pressure from the squats with the tumor is what really kind of made it like activated or something,
Uh huh.
activated the pain and all that.
Yeah.
So after that, I basically went to my mom would take me to the doctors and they would keep saying, "Oh, it's growing pain. There's growing pains," and then it would change to, "Oh, he's just trying to get pain pills. Like he's just trying to get high, or whatever, and this is and that." And
Dang.
mind you, at the time I'm like 16, and they get x-rays done, there's nothing. They
Yeah.
send me to physical therapy, and the physical therapist is the one that says pulls aside my mom and was like, everything that I'm doing with him, all the pressure on his back and all that is making everything way worse.
Right.
So what ends up happening is that they they end up getting an MRI done on my back, and this was like a year later. And if they didn't, it like I got so lucky because they said the spinal fluid going from my back to my brain, it could have spread to my brain any
Oh
second.
my goodness.
So I got really lucky.
Yes, you
So
did.
yeah, so I basically I went and got the MRI done, and then I went to a neurologist, and then at that point, they came in and said I had cancer, and At this point, I'm like 17 and a half. This is a year later, and I get put on pain pills and all that and stuff, and
Mm.
I get the surgery done at the Children's Hospital in LA, and I get everything out with no chemo or anything, and that kind of is like what led to a lot in my life with addiction and everything at that point.
Okay, so but you're good now though, right? Cancer free?
Yeah, I'm good now. I got to get like a checkup MRI like every I think like every 10 years now or
Oh,
something, because
okay.
there's still like a 0.2% chance or something, but
Yeah.
it's not
Okay.
coming back.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So next up, let's talk about your addiction you had.
Okay. Yep. So that's it's a very, very small chunk of my life, but I tell a lot of people that are going through that me going through addiction and going through all that stuff, it was more painful for me, and it was way harder to overcome than with me dealing with cancer. So like, if you just sit with that for a second, like me dealing with that, like it was way, way rough, you know, like
I can imagine.
I so basically I got put on pain pills. It was like Vicodin, and then it went to a higher milligram, and my body just got so used to it. And then it ended up coming to a point, like I was like, I want to say 20, and then like it just wasn't doing nothing no more, you know. And then they ended up taking it away from me, and then I was still like in a lot of pain. And what ends up happening is, you know, I was still in pain, so I went to the streets. I got put on Roxy's, and then I ended up popping them, and then I ended up after that, I ended up smoking them, and then it got to the point one day I get introduced to heroin, and then I end up, you know, smoking that, and then I end up using a point, you know, which is
Yeah.
I ended up doing it that way, and that was introduced to me from a friend who she's clean and sober now, and you know,
That's
like,
good.
so that's kind of what, you know, led me to that. You know, like it was a really, really hard path that I went on, and there was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of me running from the police, like, because I was always high all the time, that, you know, I never went to go check in probation, because in my mind I was like, I'm gonna fail this drug test, there's no
Right.
point in me
Yeah.
going, you know.
Yeah.
So I always had warrants, I was always on the run. So like I remember one time I ran away from the cops, and you know, like I'm like dope sick, and I'm like in the city, like in downtown, I'm running from the cops dope sick. And I remember one time just barely getting away from the cop, and that was like my life every day, was just, you know, doing stupid things to get high.
Yeah.
And you know, like I felt like 24/7, like my life was just, you know, it didn't feel like my life anymore. It felt like I was living someone else's life, and everything just did not feel okay, and it felt like a whole nother world, like, and I felt so trapped, and
Oh, okay. All right, but you're doing good now.
I'm doing
I'm
great
proud
now.
of you. Okay, awesome. All right, keep it up. Okay, so now tell me a little bit about how did you become homeless?
Okay, so the way that I became homeless was I was dating this girl at the time, and I still was, you know, like I was like semi-functioning, like a semi-functioning addict. And I think really what happened was like I had a ultimatum. Like she made me choose, like, you're gonna be with me or you're gonna choose a drug, you know. And I
Okay.
regret it, like, all the time that I chose a drug over a girl that I did love, you know. And you know, if she ever seen this, like, I'm sorry, I truly am, you know. And I know I put through a lot of stuff, you know,
Yeah.
her and her family. And but I had a choice, you know, and I chose to use drugs. And at that same time, like when I made that decision, I lost my car, and you know, I ended up in the streets. I remember just one night vividly, like I'm going to the east side of my city, and like the ghetto part of my city, and you know, I literally just wind up in the ghetto, and I'm just searching for drugs and stuff. And I ended up, like, that night I remember like going to downtown Oxnard in my city, and I remember like there's like these apartments, and they have these like little cubby holes.
Uh-huh.
And I remember that night clearly. I literally walked up over there, and I tried to find a blanket. I went and stole a blanket from Goodwill, from their bin. I hopped up in there because I didn't have no blankets. I put a blanket down, and I slept outside in the little cubby. And it was a very, very rough life, like a lot of just seeing, like, I seen some people that I went to high school with,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people, like, never thought that they would see me in that light, and then seeing people that, that were doing okay and that I went to high school with, and would come and run into me, and they would be like, what is going on with you? Like, I did not look recognizable. I looked like very, very unhealthy, and like, that whole life was just, I try to make it a blur, but it's still a part of me, and it's still who I am today.
I'm so glad you overcome all of your homelessness and cancer and all that. I'm so glad that you're doing way better now.
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Okay, awesome. So next up is tell me about your jail experience.
Yeah, that's
No.
there's some crazy times, like I think we could start back to the my very first reason I got locked up, and I could talk about it because it's a closed case.
Uh-huh.
So basically, they I don't want to get super super deep into it and explain everything, but
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
go, but I will say briefly what happened. Basically, I was in possession of a stolen car, and the cops found me sleeping in a stolen car. And the reason why it was only a misdemeanor, and the reason why it was only a misdemeanor was because like I didn't have the keys on me, and I literally just told them, like I came in here and I slept in here, so they don't know, like if I had the keys or not, or where they were, and
Right,
they will
yeah.
never know.
Got you.
But that was kind of like, the beginning of my jail stays, like I literally got put on probation because of that. And once you get on probation, and cops have that access to you where they can search you anytime, and you're using drugs and stuff
Yeah.
like that,
Yep.
like it's a wrap. My life like ended up like just going downhill because of that. I was in and out of jail like so many times. Like I would be there for like a week and then get out and go do the same thing, and then have warrants. Cops will find me, somewhere sleeping somewhere weird or doing something, and then they'll throw me back in. And then, like one time we got caught up for, they found us with a bunch of bottles at a Vons at a grocery store that, that we were about to take and
Mm-hmm.
come out of the store with. And and they arrested me, and I did like 3 months for that, and I still went back, and I was still leading the same life, like that still wasn't enough time for me, and I think the final straw was, it saved my life, because fentanyl started hitting the streets very, very hard at the time. And I did a year, like, and that's a whole nother story itself for what I got caught up for.
Okay.
But I did a year, and in that time of me doing a year, right when I got busted, I was kicking off heroin and off like all kinds of different drugs and stuff. And like I said, that year saved my life, and that's why I'm here today. Because the first month that I got arrested and I was in jail for that year, I would just hear people coming in from the outside, and they'd be like, hey, so and so died, or and so and so passed away, this person passed away.
Yeah.
Like there must have been like 20 people that passed away within like those 2 months.
Oh my goodness.
And I got really, really healthy. I got physically strong. There was a point that, RIP to my homie Chema. There was a point, me and him, like, this is how healthy we were. We did 1,000 push-ups in one day. Like, it took a while, a couple hours, but we did it. And he passed away. And I have a lot of people that I lost that I grew like friendships with, that, it still affects me to this day. Like, it really, really bothers me, But me just taking care of everything, my physical, my spiritual, my mental, and just really, really taking care of that. And in jail, I probably was the strongest person in jail than I ever was like on the outside. 'Cause I had so much time to reflect, you know. And after jail, I got out, and that's the next chapter, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw this in there. I've had
Yeah.
friends before that they were homeless, so they try to, instead of sleeping out on the streets, they try to get in trouble so they could have a bed to sleep on at nighttime and safe. I mean, I know
Yeah,
it's just how it was and how it still is to
yeah,
this
that
day.
that's very, very true. You know, it's a little different out here in Tennessee because
Yeah,
I think a lot more people do that because it gets colder over
yeah,
here. It gets hotter. In California, we're spoiled where we
yeah.
can be outside and be okay, you know.
Right,
But there's
right.
a lot of older people and a lot of like more people with mental illness that
Mm-hmm.
are like homeless and stuff that would do that. They would like throw a brick into like a window or something, and just so they can get 3 meals and a place to stay for a little bit, you know, like that's very, very common.
Oh, okay. All right. So after I've been through all of that, how about this recovery you're talking about? How was that?
Yeah, so when I got out of jail, not a lot of people know this, some people know this, but I literally I went to my city, you know, like I was supposed to literally stay in a hotel in a city away from my city and then take the bus and come straight to Tennessee to my grandparents' house. And what I did was I messed up. I went to the city where I was using and all that and stuff. And you know, I ended up meeting with the girl with some friend, and I hung out with her that night, and I had like a hotel or whatever. And then, you know, like I'm healthy, like I'm like I feel good or whatever, you know, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it one last time, you know, like I'm gonna leave tomorrow, whatever, just one
Yeah,
last
yeah.
time, you know. So I ended up, you know, getting whatever, and then next thing I remember is like I'm on the curb and I'm like this slumped over, and there's like red and blue lights flashing in my eyes. I wake up like this, and the cops are right there. You know, I literally got out of jail that day, you
Oh
know,
my goodness.
and this was the nighttime, and they were like, "What are you doing? This, is and that." And like some of the cops downtown, they knew who I was, you know, already, you know. So basically, sorry, I'm kind of down. Okay, that happened. That happened.
You good? Take your time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so basically, I basically kind of begged the cop. I was like, I will be gone tomorrow, and you will never, never see me again. You know, just let me go. You know, and I
Right,
was like, if I'm not gone tomorrow, I don't care. You can plant drugs on me. You can do whatever and
right.
take me and
Yeah,
lock me up. You
yeah.
know, so you know that was like the start of my recovery. You know, and the next day I got on the Greyhound. All I had was a phone and a pair of clothes, and I got on the Greyhound, and it took like a couple of days to get to Tennessee, and I moved in with my grandparents, and it was a struggle, you know, like going from that life to going back to a regular normal life. And then at this time now, like I was considered a felon. I had 15 misdemeanors on my rap sheet. I had so much stuff that, you know, for the average person, they would just give up, you know. And I had so much anxiety and trying to find jobs and trying to keep a job, and it was very, very hard for me to just live a normal life. And all I, you know, all I was doing during that time was I just had to stay true to myself and really,
For
really,
sure. Yeah.
you know, come back to reality. And, you know, like I started working out again. I started taking care of myself a little better. I was like, I got to start doing this stuff I was doing in jail, but doing it on the outside, you
Right,
know?
right. Yep.
So every day, like I try to better myself a little more and a little more. And to this day, I try to do that. You know, I try to do the stuff that I love. Like when I was a kid, I try to play video games. I go to wrestling shows, and I try to take care of my body. Now I go work out. I drink a gallon of water a day. You know, like I'll kind of sit with myself in the morning and meditate and think about what's going on in my life. I'll kind of try not to overthink because that was a big problem of mine, and I'll try to, you know, really, really just. It's not easy, you know, like recovering and all
Yeah.
that. It was a lot of steps I had to take, and it's not gonna come just overnight. Like it takes a lot of work and just a lot of time, you know. But it does happen, and it can't happen for anybody out there, you know?
Yeah, nothing happens overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing
Like Rome
happens
was
overnight.
not built overnight. Let's
Yeah.
be real here. Okay, so the last question to wrap this up: what are you grateful for?
Yeah, that's a deep question. For one, I'm grateful that I'm still here. You know, I'm grateful for all the beautiful people that have came into my life. Every single one of them. You know, like you know, once you start changing your life around and really, really trying, you know, the sorry people are just going to eliminate themselves, you
Right.
know?
Yep.
So I'm really, really grateful to be here. And I'm really, really grateful for all the people that are in my life right now that have my back and no matter what.
All right. Awesome. Well, Anthony Cruz, I thank you so much for being a part of Let's Talk About It. And
We talked about it, you know?
yeah, we talked about it. Hey, that's what's up. We talked about it. Get it all out in the open.
Yep, yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much, dude. And we'll holler at you later.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.